This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Good evening. Dan is on assignment. With the flood of Cuban refugees still rising, the U.S. military is scrambling tonight to prepare food and shelter for tens of thousands more at the Guantanamo Naval Base. By late today, the Coast Guard had picked up another 1,159 Cubans at sea. That brings the total to 10,017 since last Friday, when Mr. Clinton changed policy and barred them from entering the U.S. White House correspondent Rita Braver begins our report.
With boatloads of Cubans still struggling to reach the United States, the White House was desperate to get out the word that all refugees picked up at sea will be taken to Guantanamo and kept there or placed in safe haven countries indefinitely. And a group of top officials was trotted out to state the White House line.
We stand by our new policy to Cuba, and we will not be intimidated by Castro's cynical attempt to solve his domestic problems by encouraging people to flee.
Attorney General Janet Reno said she is reviewing ways to ease admissions procedures for applicants who stay in Cuba, but she insisted there will be no help for those who strike out on their own.
I am not going to parole them in.
That's right.
And administration officials today rejected a call by Cuba's United Nations ambassador for wide-ranging talks about improving relations between the two countries. Meanwhile, the Pentagon says it's still computing costs for the whole operation, but it's likely to run to hundreds of millions of dollars. 40 Coast Guard and Navy ships will be picking up refugees, with air surveillance from at least 30 fixed-wing planes and helicopters. Including Cuban and Haitian refugees, there will be facilities to hold 40,000 people on Guantanamo by the end of next week, and even 60,000 down the line. An operation which could require 8,000 to 10,000 U.S. military personnel. And government sources tell CBS News that there is worry about possible violence among Cuban refugees at Guantanamo, including concern by military intelligence that Fidel Castro might try to slip in agents to incite riots. Rita Braver, CBS News at the White House.
Cuba's ambassador to the UN said today the only way to stop the exodus is for the U.S. to lift its economic embargo against Cuba. U.S. officials say they won't even talk about that unless Castro restores democracy in Cuba. It's the latest crisis in a long-running game of political hardball between the U.S. and Cuba. Correspondent Diana Gonzalez reports from Miami.
With every raft and rickety boat that leaves Havana, President Clinton's new Cuba policy sinks deeper and raises new questions. When will the flood of refugees begin to recede? And how long can the U.S. detain thousands of Cubans? The White House wants to appear firm and sent a delegation to South Florida to make the point.
They will not be allowed into the United States today, tomorrow, not until there is a freely elected, not until democracy has returned to Cuba.
But few people seem to be buying that.
I don't think the rafters believe it, and I think they're right. And they're right because eventually the U.S. is going to have to do something with these people that they have in Guantanamo.
The consensus among many here in Miami's Cuban-American community is that once the crisis is over, the U.S. will soften and once again open its doors to renegade rafters.
Professor Luis Aguilar León was Fidel Castro's classmate in Cuba and President Clinton's teacher at Georgetown University.
They must be released. What is their crime? That they believe in freedom? They trusted the United States?
The controversial new policies that call for the indefinite detention of all Cuban immigrants and tighter economic restrictions against Cuba were recommended by the powerful Cuban-American lobby. Its leader insists these painful measures are necessary.
We have to sacrifice the short-term gain in return for the liberation of Cuba.
But no one can say when or how that will happen. In the meantime, Cuban refugees are floating in limbo. Cuba will not take them back, and the U.S. will not allow them in. Diana Gonzalez, CBS News, Miami.
Cuban government radio said the bodies of 8 rafters washed ashore near Havana today. No one knows how many more have died at sea. But apparently the risk of death is one that Cubans are still prepared to take. Correspondent Giselle Fernandez is in Havana. Giselle?
Connie, despite the Clinton administration's reinforced warnings, the Cuban people continue to crowd the beaches of Havana and set sail in those flimsy boats. Many say they don't care what the U.S. says. Anywhere is better than here. Young Cubans fed up with the island's crippled economy today are still setting out to sea by the hundreds in these makeshift boats. With no opposition from the Cuban government, many carried their newly made rafts right through the main streets of Havana. As fellow Cubans watched, some called them loco, crazy to risk their lives only to end up at a holding camp at the U.S. base in Guantanamo. But this group along Havana's seawall said they believe once they reach Guantanamo, the next stop will be the U.S. And that hope, they say, is reason enough to risk the now short journey to Coast Guard pickup boats. If they had the money, they say, they'd go tomorrow. But this woman who stood by and watched said the young people can do what they want. She plans to stay in Cuba forever. That Fidel Castro and the revolution gave her a home, food, and medical care. The Castro government has not officially responded to the statements made by the Clinton administration today. It just continues to blame the U.S. embargo for the hardships causing thousands to risk their lives at sea. However, officials do hope that the spotlight on the exodus forces some change in U.S.-Cuba relations. Meanwhile, remarkably, the city of Havana goes on as normal, which means people are just trying to survive the severe economic crisis here. Driving around, we still saw long lines for scarce gasoline, long lines for scarce food, and long lines for buses that come only intermittently at best. There are some people here who openly, more openly than ever before, denounce the Castro government. Others staunchly defend the revolution, and many others who say that there's no time for politics. They're just trying to survive. Connie?
All right, Giselle Fernandez in Havana, thank you. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, wounded by friendly fire, one of the dangers facing undercover cops. And Eye on America. Tonight, the Tour de Gramps, vacationing with the grandchildren.
People are discovering something highly irregular.
That's odd.
What is it, Mark Long?
I don't know.
About the price of Metamucil. Same effective natural fiber for regularity at a surprisingly lower price.
Let's get two.
Yeah.
Metamucil, the natural choice for regularity.
How fast does maximum strength Ambisol start to relieve cold and canker sore pain? Before you can say,
Ambisol.
Get maximum strength relief from minor mouth pain on contact. Maximum strength Ambisol. Put it on. The pain is gone.
Some nights, my husband Ben is out there for hours, in spite of his minor arthritis pain. When he has a flare-up, he takes Advil. For minor arthritis pain, doctors recommend Advil most. And nothing's been proven to last longer. He says Advil lets him get back to doing what he loves. And without the pain, he sleeps better. Says he wakes up feeling ready for another day. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
A baggage handler for American Airlines may be headed for a landing in jail after entering a guilty plea today. He was the last of 8 baggage handlers caught by hidden FBI cameras in a sting operation at Washington's National Airport. The 8 handlers admitted stealing tens of thousands of dollars worth of goods out of the bags of airline passengers, everything from clothing to guns. On Capitol Hill, it's been another day of stalemate over the $30 billion federal crime bill. Republican opponents are still demanding changes in the legislation before they will allow the Senate to vote final passage. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer has the latest.
It's a debate even the Senate has come to hate.
This debate is like a bad migraine headache. It goes on and on and on.
But through the day, Republicans kept up their threat to block a vote unless Democrats stripped away many of the bill's spending provisions.
And they figured they were going to get by with hiding all of this crap in the bill, this 1960-style social spending, because people want a crime bill and a real crime bill.
Biden of Delaware said the real reason Republicans wouldn't agree to vote was the Senate's worst-kept secret.
The bill is acceptable to over 55 members of this body.
The standoff became so torturous, Byrd of West Virginia worried what effect it would have on the Senate itself.
This is the type of posturing which will ultimately make the Senate an irrelevancy. Ultimately make the Senate an irrelevancy.
Finally, Republican leader Dole offered to clear the way for a vote if Democrats would vote first on stripping $5 billion from the bill.
And we want to join all those who want a crime bill. Not a spending bill, but a crime bill.
Democratic leader Mitchell promised an answer tomorrow, but saw other Republican motives.
It's a way of protecting the assault weapons ban from being enacted. That's really the purpose here.
For all the rancor, the feeling grows here that this fight will somehow be settled this week, but the first casualty may be health care. Even some of those who've worked hardest to find a health care compromise are now saying so much time has been lost, it may be impossible to pass anything of substance before the elections. Connie.
Bob Schieffer live on Capitol Hill. Thank you. Here in New York, authorities tonight are still trying to piece together what went wrong earlier this week in a crowded subway station. Among the nagging questions, was race a contributing factor when two police officers responding to a crime scene wound up in an exchange of friendly fire? Correspondent Jacqueline Adams has the story.
Rush hour, Monday night, a crowded Midtown subway station. Police say commuters spotted two armed teenagers. They nabbed one with a Derringer. When the other dropped a sawed-off shotgun, it went off, wounding a bystander. An off-duty cop on the train and an undercover cop on the platform sprang into action with disastrous results.
We just heard one shot, and then we heard people started scrambling, and then we heard another 2 or 3 shots.
When the shooting stopped, police say Officer Desmond Robinson had been hit 4 times, twice in the back, by Officer Peter Del Debbio, who was also wounded. At the time, neither man knew the other was a cop.
Police say Officer Robinson did not wave his badge nor identify himself as a police officer, but some witnesses suggest that Del Debbio overreacted when he saw Robinson and believed he was a suspect.
Kept the perpetrator down on the ground with his left hand and appeared to fire approximately 3 shots into the lower back of the perpetrator.
There is no denying that for black officers, darker-skinned Hispanic officers, working in plain clothes is a very dangerous assignment in this city.
For Derwin Pinnell, an undercover cop shot by white officers 21 months ago.
It's like, boom, it happened all over again, but it's just somebody else.
After the Pinnell shooting, police who patrol the subways used this tape to heighten their officers' sensitivity. Black officers say now it's time for all police agencies to do the same.
We must train our officers that when you see a black man with a gun, it does not equal criminal.
Agreeing that his officers may need more training, New York's police chief laid the full blame for this disaster on 2 teenagers who brought guns into the subway. Jacqueline Adams, CBS News, New York.
Stay with us now for more of the CBS Evening News, including a new device that could help thousands of Americans with heart trouble.
If you wanted breakfast for a quarter, what could you get?
This day and age, not much. Gumball, I guess.
You're a nut! Get away from me!
No, wait. Kellogg's Corn Flakes and milk is less than 25 cents a serving.
This whole bowl of cereal? 25 cents? Wow.
Unbelievable.
Just 25 cents a bowl. Pretty good, huh?
The real thing that you're missing, though, no fat.
It's amazing to have something for 25 cents that I like.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes, just part of the value in having breakfast with Kellogg's.
How much does this guy eat?
I'm here with big news from Hallmark. All Shoebox Greetings, Hallmark's humorous line of cards, are now just $1.29.
Offer expires at midnight.
No, actually, that's the regular price for the rest of the year.
With a purchase of $200 or more.
Who are you?
I'm from the announcer's school. You need to say these things when you're having a sale.
But this isn't a sale. All Shoebox cards are just $1.29, really.
While supplies last. Do not try this at home.
Ignore him. Shoebox cards are only $1.29, only from Hallmark.
Batteries not included.
I think you're in the wrong commercial.
The popularity of Cooper tires may surprise you, but it certainly doesn't surprise our dealers. Cooper, your next set of tires.
Attention heartburn sufferers.
If antacids work, why do I keep getting heartburn?
You know, frequent heartburn may be a sign of a more serious medical problem. Your doctor has treatment plans that can help.
Frequent heartburn. Isn't it time you talk to your doctor?
The fall of the master terrorist, Carlos the Jackal. How did they get him?
He was built to be a guerrilla warrior, and then he ends up talking to a girl in a bar, you know.
But there's more to his capture than that. See the incredible story behind the story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
Word tonight of a new weapon in the fight against heart disease. It's a medical device that can help keep coronary arteries from reclogging after they've been cleared. CBS News health correspondent Dr. Bob Arnott has more about the new device and how it works.
Heart patient Howard Bach is alive and well, thanks to a recently approved device called a stent that keeps blood flowing through his heart's arteries even during vigorous exercise.
I'm feeling much better. When I do exercise, I don't get as tired as I did prior to this procedure being done.
Every year, 400,000 Americans have their clogged coronary arteries reopened with a small balloon, a procedure known as angioplasty. However, in nearly 50% of those cases, the artery later reclogs. In Howard's case, doctors used a balloon to open his artery, but also inserted an expandable wire mesh stent to keep it open.
We'll be able to decrease the amount of times patients will come back to the hospital, decrease the need for coronary bypass surgery. Most importantly, I think it's going to increase their quality of life.
A study in tomorrow's New England Journal of Medicine found that arteries are 25% more likely to remain open when a stent is used. But experts caution that metal stents may act as a magnet for blood clots, and special precautions must be taken.
It requires the blood thinning medication, which is related to longer hospitalization.
Researchers say stents can have a significant impact on the lives of thousands of Americans and are developing new ones with drug-coated surfaces to repel blood clots. Those should decrease the cost of hospitalization and the risk to patients. Dr. Bob Arnott, CBS News, New York.
A lot of late-model Cadillacs will be heading back to the dealer. General Motors is recalling 67,000 Cadillacs, including the 1993 Elante and the 1993 and 94 Seville Touring Sedan and Eldorado Touring Coupe. GM hopes to correct a problem with an oil cooler line that could cause a fire. Wall Street had its best performance in months today. The Dow Industrial soared nearly 71 points.
A new wind is rising, bringing change, bringing the all-new Ford Windstar, a totally new minivan. Windstar is the only minivan that combines standard dual airbags, 5-mile-an-hour bumpers, and 4-wheel anti-lock brakes. Plus, it meets all passenger car safety standards. It's safety that takes the minivan in a whole new direction. The all-new front-wheel drive Ford Windstar. The future of minivans begins today.
If you want 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals from your cereal, try Total. Because to try to get that from shredded wheat, you're going to have to add more than just milk.
Like what?
Perhaps you'd like to start with these. Huh? Whole grain Total. One bowl, 100%.
I'll try the Total.
This is a square inch. A wheat thin is the most real food deliciousness you can get in a square inch. The most genuine toastiness. The most crunchiness, the most munchiness. Wheat thins, the most taste you can get in a square inch.
It was 1 a.m. I'm hurting, I can't sleep, and I'm worried about taking something. Is it okay? What am I going to feel like in the morning? Finally, I take Tylenol PM. It stops my pain, it helps me sleep, and next morning, I am up with the sun and I feel great. Poor old Ralph can't even keep up. And I'm thinking, it's going to be a beautiful day.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM.
It's fixed. You sure? Looks a little strange. Oh, I've done this before. Watch.
Just when you really need it. It's Service Star's Good Neighbor Sale going on now at a Service Star near you. Some of us need it bad. Real bad. Get a Service Star 32-gallon trash can, only $5.99 after mail-in rebate, or a 4-pack of GE Soft White Miser bulbs, only $1.99 at Service Star.
Police say he hunted children. How many victims were there? Child Hunter on 48 Hours tonight.
A judge in Washington refused today to order the NAACP to reinstate Benjamin Chavis as executive director. Chavis was fired last weekend, and he's now suing the civil rights group for damages. But both sides said today they hope to reach an amicable settlement out of court. After months of racial tension in Wedowee, Alabama, the local high school was torched. Today, students went back to class for the first time since the fire and found a lot has changed. From Alabama, CBS News correspondent Vicki Mabry has our report.
It's a new day in Wedowee, a new year at Randolph County High School as students return today amid a scene reminiscent of the 60s.
I went in the building yesterday and it was a big difference. It really was.
6 months ago, former Principal Hewlin Humphreys ignited racial tensions here by threatening to cancel the senior prom if interracial couples attended.
It was just mostly him treating the students wrong.
Just over 2 weeks ago, an arsonist torched part of the school. There have been no arrests. Humphreys has been reassigned to administrative duty while the Justice Department probes allegations of racial discrimination. Changes this year go beyond the cosmetics of portable classrooms. There's new management, a black assistant principal who graduated with the new principal from this high school in 1969. Lucille Burns was the first black to attend Randolph County High School.
Just knowing how I feel to be a black student within a white community, I think I can change it. I can make the kids feel that they are important. They are somebody.
Despite the fire and the national attention, students say they expect a normal year.
I think since all this happened, everybody's kind of coming together.
To me, we've always gotten along, and now we still get along.
But the local NAACP says it's not the students who have a problem, it's the adults.
As long as black people know their place and stay in it. But the minute black people start raising issues and what have you, that's when the peace is somehow disturbed.
School officials expect it will take about 18 months to rebuild from the fire. They hope broken relations and hurt feelings will mend much sooner. Vicki Mabry, CBS News, Wedowee, Alabama.
Baseball players and owners met for the first time today since the players went on strike 13 days ago. Neither side budged on the key issue, the owners' demand for a salary cap. While they talked, 14 more games were wiped off the Major League schedule today, bringing the total to 155. The head of Walt Disney Studios abruptly resigned today, and word is Jeffrey Katzenberg may be headed for Sony Pictures. Disney has now lost 2 of its top executives this year. Company President Frank Wells was killed in a helicopter accident. And coming up next, Eye on America. Tonight, the vacation that skips a generation.
Cleanse yourself with 100% soap-free and fragrance-free Alpha Hydrox. Refresh yourself with a natural Alpha Hydrox solution that can reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Moisturize yourself with products to nurture and protect your beautiful new skin. Save yourself with amazingly effective Alpha Hydrox products under $10 each. Now you know the naked truth about skincare. The cleansers, treatments, and moisturizers of Alpha Hydrox.
How can something non-alcoholic taste this good, huh?
Funny you should ask, Jim. Old Milwaukee starts with fully fermented beer and uses this Centrotherm with its unique rotating evaporator system to carefully remove the alcohol.
So, full-bodied beer flavors never compromised?
Exactly, that's the beauty of the Centrotherm.
For a non-alcoholic brew that tastes like beer, it doesn't get any better than this. Who said that?
Dinner is served.
They had a Ming vase. They had a Rembrandt. Even Louis XVI's favorite chair. But of all their prized possessions, there's only one they haven't had to replace. The Range Rover. Range Rover. The world's most capable luxury vehicle.
Guess what? Hallmark's humorous line of cards, shoebox greetings, are now just $1.29.
Some restrictions may apply.
No restrictions. That's the regular price for the rest of the year.
With just 500 proofs of purchase.
What are you doing?
Good announcers know that all sales require certain legal qualifiers.
But this isn't a sale. Shoebox cards are just $1.29 every day, really.
Must be 21 or older to play.
Listen, shoebox cards are only $1.29, only from Hallmark. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
No shoes, no shirt, no service.
Well, okay, that's true.
And finally tonight, trends in travel. The government says 1993 was the busiest year ever for air travel between the U.S. and other countries. 92.5 million people made the trip. And travel does more than link country to country. It's also linking generation to generation. And that's tonight's Eye on America, reported by Frank Courier.
Final boarding call aboard Fort Lauderdale.
Non-stop service to Orlando, Florida.
One grandparent, one grandmother.
It's a hot summer trend in travel.
Do you have any grandparents with these kids? Great. How many grandchildren do you have?
And whether it's a week on the New England coast or a weekend at a Chicago beach, more and more grandparents and their grandchildren
are taking vacations with each other.
Plymouth Rock is also on the right side of the shoreline.
With 62 million grandparents in America, travel agencies are closing the generation gap with custom tour packages aimed at building fond memories for young and old.
That's what they're buying into, are those memories, the sharing of those experiences together.
One of the summer's best-kept secrets is here in the Adirondacks of upstate New York, where elders and their grandkids come to a special camp where no parents are allowed.
For a week in the woods, costing about $400 a person,
I'm concerned about me. I don't want to fall.
grandparents rough it at a wilderness retreat called Sagamore, a one-time summer home to the Vanderbilt family.
I always remember that I always had a lot of fun with them. When I'm with these two, nothing's boring.
Child psychiatrist Arthur Kornhaber and wife Carol organized the camp 9 years ago.
Old age ain't what it used to be. And many grandparents are starting to look around for the first time when they discover this to see, what am I going to do with these extra years?
Paddling these still waters, grandparents come in search of creative ways to strengthen ties with their children's children. Nancy Negrelli and granddaughter Tina traveled from Newberry, Ohio.
I want to create a feeling between me and my grandchild that will always be with them, that they will always remember.
My grandfather was telling us stories about themselves, and that makes us get to know them more, too. Yeah.
These campers range from 5 to 85, but there's not one between 15 and 50. Kids call it the kind of place where if somebody yells, "Hey, Grandma,"
kids, smile.
Everyone looks up.
Great picture.
They're softies. All grandparents seem to be softies. I'm talking softy here.
They're talking about Al and Ann Rogal of Pittsburgh, who keep coming back to Sagamore with their 4 grandchildren.
To get the children with you alone without the parents there, you just get a whole new view of them. They talk to you, they confide in you.
And like many elders who have watched their families divorce or simply move away, the Rogals won't settle for long-distance grandparenting.
The truth is, it's a delight, and it is tiring, but it's a kind of delicious tiring.
Oh, wow, that's a great picture.
It's different, but it's a lot of fun, actually. It's really cool.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect.
We come from the sky.
This much togetherness is not for everyone, but for a new generation of more active and affluent travelers, vacationing with grandkids is a chance to absorb one another.
It's a very special sort of thing, and the things that happen here are special.
We come from the fire.
And with the campfire comes hope. These special memories will keep burning. In Racket Lake, New York, Frank Currier for Eye on America.
And that's our news. Later tonight on 48 Hours, the story of a suspected child killer and how one child got away. Join Dan Rather for 48 Hours, Child Hunter, tonight at 10, 9 Central Time. I'm Connie Chung. I'll see you again tomorrow night. Thank you for joining us, and for all of us at CBS News, good night.
Experience CBS News.
Carlos the Jackal, the most infamous terrorist ever. Now, the incredible story behind the story of his capture. See it tomorrow on the CBS Evening News. This is CBS.